right, I'm Matt Minich, and this is Bengals Chalk Talk. Today, we're going to talk about possible targets in round 3. Going to start off with a few guys that I believe would be good options at 65, and then transition and talk about some guys a little bit deeper into the round. So if they do trade back, or if somehow, some way they end up picking up an extra third rounder, some guys that could be an option a little bit later in the round. But we're going to start with the receiver position. We're going to start with Michael Pittman. Now, Michael Pittman is a guy who could absolutely be gone in round 2. And I think in most years he probably would be gone in round 2. But with the depth at the receiver position this year, I think there's a good possibility that he slides. In particular because he's a bigger guy. He's not a guy that's known for his speed. I think they could push him a little bit deeper down. But really good player. We're going to check him out right here. All right, first seeing his release. All right, good release, stems to the inside, then starts to fade to the outside. All right, good catch on the deep ball. Really just like right at the edge of his grasp. And then defensive back dives and is able to bring him down for the tackle. All right, we'll take another look at another clip here. All right, now I want to point out this is against Utah, and we're not going to see him at all against Jalen Johnson in these clips. Who is the top defensive back from Utah. But look, Utah has some defensive backs now. They get like 5 guys that have a chance of getting drafted. So there's some pretty good players on the field that he's seen here. He was in the slot right here. All right, and we're going to see that wide release. All right, basically like the slot fade, but then they back shoulder it. All right, so it ends up being basically a smash route, a smash concept here. All right. But hey, great adjustment. Look at him getting up there, high pointing it. Nice long arms, picks that thing out of the sky. Now, like I said, he's not really known for his speed, all right? But he can move. I mean, he's got some skills. So we're going to take a look up top, all right? And you're going to see, once again, stems inside, works to the outside, catches the ball, all right? Going up top to catch it, using that size, going up high. And look at him running away from these guys, all right? All the way into the end zone. All right, so awesome job there. This dude can play, all right? This guy can really play with the uncertain situation contract-wise with A.J. Green and John Ross past this year, all right? This is a guy who can come in, brings you a lot of the same things that I think like an Auden Tate does, but with more speed. So excellent option here. Could be a really good fit and a nice little long-term weapon to go along with Joe Burrow. Now, Matt, we need offensive line. I hear you. All right. So let me talk about my man, Prince Tega Wanago. This guy, all right, still learning the game of football. All right. He came to get a prep school scholarship, all right, as a basketball player coming out of Nigeria. Never played football before he came here, all right, and now he's playing at Auburn, all right. So watch him. He's the left tackle here, all right. Big dude, 6'5", 304. Take a look at him in a pass pro, all right. First, we're gonna look at his feet. All right, excellent with his feet, good technique, all right. Real smooth for a big man, right? All right, and then he absolutely destroys this guy. Buries him at the end, all right? The guy's not doing himself any favors, all right? Leaning a little bit too much into him, all right? But destroys that guy, all right? This dude can play, and his ceiling is through the roof, and he's got potentially a lot of growth to do because, like I said, he hasn't been playing football for that long. So he could be a really good option, and I think he's better than some of the guys that are getting, some even round 1 type of hype, who are definitely going to go in round 2. He's a guy that I think might be able to slip. He should go in round 2. I got a round 2 grade on the guy. He certainly should go, but I think he's a guy that could slip and could be available. We're going to take a look at him in the run game now here too, all right? You're going to see him chip off, boom, and up. Getting up in that linebacker, and look, that linebacker doesn't have a chance. All right, watch him drive this dude. That guy's on skates, all right? Going nowhere. Now, the one thing I've noticed with him is sometimes he gets a little bit high, all right? A little bit too high in his stance, and when he does, his anchor suffers, as you would expect. He can get knocked back a little bit. But when he keeps his pad level low, he is awesome. All right. So I think moving over the right, he could be an option. Develop for a year, push Bobby Hart, and maybe move in there in the near future. Prince Tega Wanago, awesome player there, really good option. Now I'm not going to spend a lot of time on Josh Uche because I have covered him in a previous video, so I don't want to be wasting your time. All right, go back, check that thing out when I talked about linebackers. I talked about him, even though he's not really a linebacker. All right, now he's an edge player. Now, he's not a great pass rusher, in my opinion. I think, he needs to put together some more things. He doesn't have great length necessarily, but he can do some really interesting things. He can rush the passer. He can be a depth guy at that spot. He also can blitz the B gap. He does that pretty well, a little bit better on the interior, in my opinion. And he's really good in coverage. All right, we're going to see him here. He's showing that B gap blitz, drops off, boom, finds that tight end, recognizes that tight end, gets right to where he needs to be on it. So awesome job there. I think he does some really cool things. We'll take another look at that. All right, I think you can do a lot of different stuff with him. You can move him around different places. And, especially in the system that the Bengals are running, when they do go to that 3-4 type look, he's be an excellent stand-up guy in those situations. Again, not a great pass rusher necessarily, but he can do a lot of things. He can drop off real well. I think he's better in coverage than any of the guys that they have doing that stuff right now. And I think he might be able to develop into a linebacker. He played a little bit of off-the-ball linebacker at Michigan. I did not like him there. He's definitely not a plug-and-play guy. But honestly, I think it's because Michigan asked him to do so much. I don't think he's really been taught how to make the reads, how to react quickly, how to get off blocks, and how to kind of press the line of scrimmage with that stuff. He ran around too many blocks. That was the thing that really bugged me from him in that position. Other guys that could be around possibly at 65 include Bryce Hall and Damon Arnett. Both, I think, can play the slot, or outside corner. Those are guys that I've talked about in a previous video where I talked about cornerbacks. So definitely check that out. I'm going to talk about some different cornerbacks, though. All right. And now the Bengals just spent a bunch of money in the secondary. So, corner might not be a huge priority. But let's not forget, they just signed Mackenzie Alexander for 1 year. All right. So that's a 1-year deal. So is he the long-term answer? I don't know. All right. And that's something that, we're going to figure out. But Darnay Holmes, all right. And I'll talk about a couple of guys. Look, these short guys get called slot corners. And I don't think they necessarily have to be, but they get called that. And I think the guys I'm going to talk about here, I think, have the skill set to be able to do it. Darnay Holmes right here. Awesome hips. All right. Super smooth dude. I really liked this film before, but then, man, I saw him at the combine, just the way he moves. All right. Very good movement. All right. Very good, very smooth movements, transition. You're going to see him just how he mirrors this guy here at the bottom. All right. Just stays right on top of him. All right. And then as he's kind of breaking back to the out, see how he pushes down that cushion. All right, that's right where you want to be. All right, hey, now that wasn't very exciting, and you're probably looking at that. Some of you are looking at that and saying, "Geez, he's playing way off him. What's going on there?" But hey, he's got the skills to break and make plays too. So we're going to watch him again here at the bottom. All right, and you're going to see him break on the ball now. Right? Boom, gets in there, playing the ball. So awesome job again, playing off again. All right, but look what happens. Quarterback's indicators taking him over here. He sees it. Boom. He eats up space very fast. Gets down there. Boom. Playing the ball. All right, so that's an awesome job. I'm a big fan of Darnay Holmes, and I think, in particular, I think his height's going to push him down a little bit. I think he's got the skills to be a higher pick. But these shorter guys, you can get these guys, I believe, in the 3rd round, and it's a great value. And, really slot corners haven't been valued that much either. So that's why we got a great deal of Mackenzie Alexander, all right? But they bring something to the table, and these guys are starters, all right? So, for that reason too, if people are seeing him as a slot, could push him down. Amik Robertson might be Amik, all right? Amik Robertson from Louisiana Tech. We're going to take a look right here. Look, he's a small dude too. Darnay was 5'9", 105. Amik Robertson is 5'8", 147. All right. So Robertson is not a big dude. This guy from Texas here, that guy's a big dude. All right. I believe that's a flexed out tight end. All right. Look how he doesn't let this guy at the line of scrimmage. Right? The bulk is over there too, right? That guy can't do anything against him. Now, Colin Johnson, who's a big receiver from Texas, Colin Johnson gave him some struggles. All right, especially Colin Johnson's a good blocker. He had trouble getting off Colin Johnson's blocks, and pressing him was more difficult than what we just saw right there. But I'm gonna take a look right here. All right, this is against Colin Johnson on the bottom of the screen. All right, they disappear for a second, but look where they end up, right on the sideline in that fade. Look, you don't want to be there. Corners, all right, you are taught to be at the bottom of the numbers. All right, you got to be up here. Why? Because there's no room for the quarterback to throw the ball without throwing it out of bounds here. All right, this is what corners want to force you to do on these fade balls is get you out wide. They want you out there. All right, so he forces him with his body, with his position, makes him release wide outside, despite the fact that he is at a major size disadvantage. So awesome play there, and I think it shows. These two plays show that hey, he might be 5'8", but he can play with the big dogs. All right, he can get it done. Now, another option here. All right, hey, linebacker, need a linebacker. Got to find a linebacker, right? Okay. Akeem Davis Gaither. I've talked about him in a previous video as well. Go check that out. All right. But he's going to be an option in this area too. I think 65 is a bit rich. I think a little bit deeper in the round. Again, you trade back, you pick up some extra picks from the Patriots. All right. Maybe this is a good fit for him. But we're going to talk about a couple other guys here. All right. So Akeem Davis Gaither. An option. Jordan Brooks, I think, could be an option down here as well. Here's Willie Gay. Willie Gay, I liked his film before. I thought he was a little slow. All of a sudden, he goes to the combine. He's really fast. All right, what's the truth? I think it's probably somewhere in between. All right, remember, you train for that, that drill. So it's a little bit different. But we're going to see Gay here. All right, he's the mic. All right, and they get a toss out here. All right, now it's to the short side of the field, but he does a good job. He gets out there and makes a big-time tackle, little muscle flex. Always like seeing that type of attitude out of a defensive player. All right, like what we're seeing there. All right, now, here's my thing, though, and this is like my number one criticism that I wrote down before I saw him run. All right, and again, he ran a good time at the combine was I don't think he's a sideline guy. Okay, doesn't mean he can't play. Just means maybe he's not the athlete that they're really looking for at that spot. So we're going to take a look at him here, all right? Again, all right, now it's not a toss. This is a speed option. Actually, technically, it's a lead option because they got a pull going. But anyway, regardless, okay, look, that quarterback got rid of the ball. Like, he's beating the cut and everything, but man, he's just not getting out there as fast as you want to see that, right? Look at that guy hit the edge on him. So I just question the speed. I think it's enough to be sufficient in the NFL, but I don't know if it's the guy that you're looking for at that spot, that speed that we're all hoping to find at that spot. I don't think that's his game. Another linebacker, all right, that many of you are familiar with, Malik Harrison from Ohio State, 6'2", 246. We're going to see him on the edge here, all right? Disengaged from the block. Goes and makes the play on Trevor Lawrence for the tackle. All right? So, good look here. All right? Now, these are big things with linebackers. I want to see them. You see a lot of guys running around, jumping on piles, chasing things down, all right, after they've passed the line of scrimmage. I like seeing guys attack the line of scrimmage, attack blockers, get off blockers, all right, and then be able to make tackles. This is obviously a tackle in a bit of a funky position, all right? But that's a good look right there. All right. Now we're going to take a look at him in coverage. All right. That's the other thing. Like, I think it's really tough with linebackers. That's why another reason why you go for these guys who are really good athletes, because you think you can turn them into good players in coverage. But I think what they are asked to do in college, it's just very limited with a lot of these guys in coverage. So you don't really know. All right. It's not that they can't do it. It's just they're only asked to do so much a lot of the time. And he's actually spread out here. So this is a little bit different. He's spread out here. And this is really a man situation here. All right. So he's locked in there. and he gets in there and makes a play on it. All right. So it's a good look. Obviously, they're not, running down the field or anything, man. All right. But he stays in position. He's able to get his hand in there and make a play on it. So, see some good things out of him there. All right. And then one guy, a very popular name, is Troy Dye from Oregon. Okay. Troy Dye from Oregon. We're going to take a look at a couple of his plays here. And the first one is a look at coverage. Now he sits on the play action, which is good. And then he turns and runs and he finds the ball. And this gets clipped a little bit tight here. My bad. But hey, he knocks that ball out of there. All right. So he makes a play on the ball. All right, and people talk about him a lot in coverage. And he's got the speed. Again, he's in coverage a little bit more than some of the other guys. But in terms of necessarily having like great coverage skills, I think that might have been overplayed a little bit. I don't love his tackling in general. I think he has a lot of tackles where I look at it and it's like, okay, he made that tackle, but that's a tackle you're gonna miss more often than not. That's something I look at with prospects sometimes. Guys can have a lot of tackles, but they're getting help, they're getting assistance, they're getting lucky. I think it's what happened a little bit with Grant Delpit. People say he didn't miss so many tackles last year. I went back and watched the film from 2018 of Grant Delpit. And his tackling form was the same last year. It's just this year it caught up with him and he started missing tackles. So I get a little worried about that. But the speed gives him some potential. I like what I see out of that. So, we're going to have to take a look at that. But, in terms of being able to get off blocks and make plays, in the run game, I'm not sure he is there. But we'll take a look at a play in the run game. Okay, this is a toss actually going away from him, all right, to the top of the screen. All right, so again, you're going to see some speed here. All right, he kind of avoids that block. All right, and gets down the line of scrimmage. Makes a tackle for a short gain, right? So that's not a bad little play there. I think he's a guy that he's got some tools. I think third round is a good spot for him. I don't think even 65 is. I think a little bit later in the third round's a good spot for him. I've had people ask me about taking him at the top of the second round. Same thing's been coming up with Willie Gay. I think somebody was predicting he was going to go. I don't want to throw out any names, but they were talking about him as an option, as somebody that is going to go at the top of the second round, not just to the Bengals. I don't like these guys aren't those guys. I don't know if there's anybody you really want to take in that position unless one of the guys that we're all expecting to go in the first round falls. It's a little bit difficult, but that's what you're doing here. You're taking potential. You're taking somebody that you can mold a little bit, and you work them in kind of like you did Jermaine Pratt last year. All right, they went out, they got Josh Bynes. They can play Josh Bynes. They can roll Bynes, and you get another guy who can do some different things, who's maybe a little bit better of an athlete. You start to work him in, maybe on some third down situations, give him a series here or there, and play around with it a little bit. So that's those are some of the guys that I think would be good targets in round 3. Again, recently put up a video talking about potential round 2 targets. So if you haven't seen that, go back and check it out. And those are mainly guys that probably should be gone in round 1. But guess what? One of them is going to slip. That's how it happens. That's how it works. We're expecting a round 1 talent there. And if not, you trade back, but that's what you want at that spot. You want to see one of those guys fall because those sort of things happen every year. So let's get a top talent with that pick. So check that stuff out. Also going to be doing 2 videos on day 3 prospects that'll be coming out in the coming days. So check back for those. We're going to break it down offense and defense. I got one offensive guy I really like, so I'm going to spend a lot of time on that guy because I think he's exciting, can do a lot of things. So a little bit of a teaser there. And some defensive prospects as well, including a backer that I actually have ranked higher than some of these guys. So come back and check that out. But he's a guy I think will be there on day 3, but who I think is probably going to be in a better position, at least initially, than some of these guys, to some really cool things, really good things in coverage. So come back and check that out. Matt Minich for Bengals Chalk Talk. We are getting there. We are almost to Joe Burrow Day. So stick with us. We'll keep talking about all the other stuff that the Bengals can do, and what they might be looking to do before we get to that point, how they're going to build this team around him, and how we're going to get this thing going. Exciting time to be a Bengals fan. Keep coming back. Keep checking us out. Thanks.